Let me ask you something very honestly. Right now, at this very moment, do you know what's happening inside your arteries? Because most people over 60 have absolutely no idea. They feel fine. They look fine. They go about their day. And meanwhile, something is slowly building up on the walls of their blood vessels that could change everything without a single warning sign. No pain. No symptoms. Nothing. Just a quiet, slow process happening inside your body right now as you watch this video. I've been a doctor for over 30 years. I've sat across from patients who had no idea they were one blocked artery away from a heart attack or a stroke. And almost every single time after we talked, they said the same thing to me. Dr. William, why didn't anyone tell me about this sooner? That question haunted me. And it's exactly why I make these videos. Because you deserve to know this. All of it. So today I'm going to share something that genuinely excites me as a physician because it sits right at the intersection of real science and everyday life. We're talking about 7 fruits, ordinary fruits you can find at almost any grocery store that have been studied and shown to help clean and protect your arteries naturally. And when I say naturally, I mean without a prescription, without a procedure, without sitting in a waiting room for 3 hours, just food. Real, powerful, beautiful food that works with your body, not against it. Now I want you to stay with me through this entire video because the fruit I'm going to reveal at number 4 is one that almost nobody talks about in this context, and the research behind it genuinely blew me away when I first read it. Plus, about halfway through, I'm going to explain something called the plaque cascade that most people have never heard of, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your breakfast the same way again. So let's do this. Let's start from the very beginning. Your arteries are not just pipes. I know that's how we picture them, these tubes carrying blood from point A to point B. But there's so much more than that. They're living tissue. They have layers. They flex and respond and communicate with the rest of your body in incredibly sophisticated ways. And under the right conditions, they stay smooth, elastic, and wide open the way they're supposed to be. But here's what happens as we get older, especially after 60. A combination of things starts working against us. Years of minor inflammation, tiny fluctuations in blood pressure, oxidized cholesterol, and elevated blood sugar all begin leaving their mark on those arterial walls. And the body, trying to be helpful, sends repair cells to patch those damaged spots. Over time, those patches accumulate, they harden, they become what doctors call plaque. And once plaque starts building up inside your arteries, your heart has to work harder to push blood through, your blood pressure rises, and your risk of a heart attack or stroke goes up significantly. The medical term for this is atherosclerosis. And here's what most people don't realize. It's not just a cholesterol problem. It's an inflammation problem. It's an oxidation problem. It's a decades-long process that doesn't happen overnight, which means it also doesn't have to keep happening. You can slow it down. You can even start to reverse parts of it. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is through specific compounds found in certain fruits that directly target this exact process. That's what we're here to talk about today. The first fruit I want to tell you about is the pomegranate, and I want to spend a little extra time here because most people think of pomegranate as just a trendy health food, something you see at the grocery store but never actually buy because you don't know what to do with it. But after you hear what I'm about to tell you, I think that's going to change. There was a landmark study published in the journal Clinical Nutrition that followed a group of patients who had significant carotid artery stenosis. That means their neck arteries, the ones that feed blood to your brain, were already partially blocked. These patients drank a small amount of pomegranate juice every day for 3 years. At the end of the study, the group drinking pomegranate juice showed a reduction in carotid artery thickness, meaning the plaque actually went backward. Meanwhile, the control group, the people who didn't drink it, their plaque got worse by 9%. Let that sink in. The same 3 years passed for both groups. But one group got better, and the other got worse based largely on this one addition to their diet. Why does pomegranate do this? It comes down to something called punicalagins, powerful antioxidants that are found almost exclusively in pomegranates. These compounds reduce LDL oxidation, which is one of the key triggers in plaque formation. Remember I mentioned oxidized cholesterol earlier. Pomegranate directly targets that. It also lowers blood pressure by helping your arteries relax and dilate more freely, and that matters enormously because chronic high blood pressure is one of the leading causes of arterial damage over time. You don't need to drink a lot. Just 4 to 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice a day, not the sugary cocktail versions. I want you to read the label and make sure it's 100% pomegranate juice is enough to start experiencing these benefits. Or if you prefer the actual fruit, the seeds are delicious on oatmeal, on salads, or just by themselves. Now let's talk about the second fruit, and this one might surprise you because it's something most of you have in your kitchen right now, blueberries. I know, You've heard about blueberries 100 times, but stick with me here, because what most people don't know is why blueberries specifically matter for arteries. And it's not just the general "they're full of antioxidants" explanation you usually get. Blueberries are loaded with compounds called anthocyanins. These are the pigments that give blueberries their deep blue-purple color. And what anthocyanins do inside your cardiovascular system is quite remarkable. They improve what doctors call endothelial function. And the endothelium is the thin lining of cells on the inside of your arteries. When that lining is healthy and functioning well, it releases a molecule called nitric oxide, which signals your blood vessel walls to relax and widen. That means lower blood pressure, better blood flow, and less friction and damage on the arterial walls. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that eating just 1 cup of blueberries a day for 8 weeks improved blood vessel function significantly in people with metabolic risk factors, the exact population most likely to be developing arterial plaque. 8 weeks, that's 2 months. That's not a long time to start seeing measurable changes in your cardiovascular health. Fresh blueberries are great, but here's the thing, frozen blueberries are actually just as powerful, and often even more nutritious, because they're frozen at peak ripeness. So if you're watching this in winter, or if fresh berries are expensive where you live, don't let that stop you. Buy frozen. Your arteries will not know the difference. The third fruit on our list is one that I want to approach carefully, because it comes with an important caveat that could actually affect your medication. That fruit is grapefruit. Grapefruit contains a compound called naringenin, which is a flavonoid with impressive anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Studies have shown that regular grapefruit consumption can lower LDL cholesterol, reduce triglycerides, and decrease systemic inflammation, all things that directly contribute to arterial plaque buildup. One study in particular, published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, found that eating red grapefruit daily for 30 days reduced LDL cholesterol by about 20% in patients with high cholesterol. Now, here's the caveat I mentioned, and please listen carefully. Grapefruit interacts with several medications, including some statins, certain blood pressure drugs, and some heart medications. It does this by blocking an enzyme in your digestive system that normally breaks down those drugs, which means the drug can build up to higher levels in your blood than intended. If you are on any medications, especially heart or blood pressure medications, please ask your doctor or pharmacist before adding grapefruit to your diet. I want you to have this fruit's benefits. I just want you to be safe getting them. If grapefruit isn't right for you because of medications, other citrus fruits like oranges and lemons offer some of the same flavonoid benefits without the same interaction concerns, so you have options. Now, I promised you something special at number 4. And here it is, a fruit that I genuinely believe is one of the most underrated cardiovascular foods in the world, and almost nobody is talking about it in this context. That fruit is the avocado. Yes, avocado is technically a fruit. And before you think, I've heard about avocados, I know they're healthy, let me tell you specifically what they do for your arteries, because it goes so much deeper than healthy fats. Avocados contain beta-sitosterol, a natural plant compound that competes with cholesterol for absorption in your digestive tract, meaning it actively blocks some of the cholesterol you eat from ever entering your bloodstream. They contain potassium at levels higher than a banana, and potassium is essential for regulating blood pressure and reducing the strain on arterial walls. They contain oleic acid, the same monounsaturated fat found in olive oil, which has been shown to reduce inflammation markers throughout the body. And they contain lutein, yes, the same compound associated with eye health, which in the cardiovascular system has been linked to reduced carotid artery thickness. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association had participants eat 1 avocado per day as a replacement for saturated fat sources in their diet. After just 5 weeks, cholesterol particles became larger and less dense, and this matters enormously because small, dense LDL particles are the ones that burrow into arterial walls and trigger plaque formation. Larger LDL particles don't do that as easily. The avocado literally changed the character of the cholesterol in these patients' bloodstreams. Half an avocado a day, that's all it takes. On your eggs in the morning, mashed on a piece of whole grain toast, sliced on a salad. This is not a complicated addition to your life, and the benefits to your arteries are profound. Now, and I need you to stay with me here because this is where it gets really important. I want to pause for a moment and explain something that I call the plaque cascade, because understanding this will make everything else I'm about to tell you click into place in a completely new way. Most people think plaque builds up in arteries the way mineral deposits build up in a pipe, gradually coating the walls over time. But that's not really how it works. The first thing that has to happen is arterial wall damage. Something high blood pressure, high blood sugar, toxins from smoking, chronic inflammation has to scratch or irritate the lining of the artery. Think of it like a scratch on the inside of a hose. The body sees that damage and immediately sends cholesterol and immune cells to patch it. Under normal circumstances, that's actually a healthy response. But here's where it goes wrong. If there's too much oxidized LDL in the bloodstream, meaning cholesterol molecules that have been chemically damaged by free radicals, those molecules get trapped in the arterial wall and trigger an immune response. White blood cells rush in to eat the oxidized cholesterol. They fill up with it and become what pathologists call foam cells. Those foam cells die and leave behind a fatty, waxy deposit. More cells come in, more foam cells form. A fibrous cap develops over the top, and now you have a plaque. The dangerous moment isn't when the plaque is large. It's actually when that fibrous cap ruptures, and suddenly all of that material is exposed to the bloodstream, and a clot forms almost instantly. That clot can completely block the artery. That's a heart attack. That's a stroke. Every single fruit I'm telling you about today targets at least one, and usually several of the steps in this cascade. They reduce inflammation, they fight oxidation, they improve endothelial function, they lower blood pressure, they change the composition of LDL particles. They're not treating a symptom, they're addressing the root mechanism. And that's why they work. Let's keep going. Our fifth fruit is one that most people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s grew up eating but may have stopped paying attention to: watermelon. Watermelon contains an amino acid called L-citrulline that your body converts into L-arginine, and L-arginine is the direct precursor to nitric oxide, that same molecule I mentioned earlier that tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. High blood pressure is one of the most damaging forces on arterial walls over time, and anything that safely and naturally helps lower it is a direct protection for your arteries. Research from Florida State University found that watermelon extract supplementation reduced aortic blood pressure significantly in adults with prehypertension, and the reduction happened within a time frame of just 6 to 8 weeks. The aorta, remember, is the largest artery in your body, the main pipeline from your heart. Reduced pressure on the aorta means reduced pressure on every artery downstream from it. Watermelon is also about 92% water, which matters because even mild chronic dehydration causes blood to thicken slightly, making the heart work harder and increasing friction within blood vessels. Staying well hydrated is not glamorous health advice, but it is absolutely real and important for arterial health, and watermelon helps you do it while also delivering lycopene, the red pigment that has its own antioxidant effects on LDL cholesterol. The sixth fruit I want to tell you about is one with thousands of years of history as a medicinal food, and modern science has not only confirmed that history, it's expanded on it significantly. That fruit is the fig. Fresh or dried figs contain impressive amounts of polyphenols, potassium, magnesium, and dietary fiber, and each of those works in a slightly different way to protect your arteries. The polyphenols reduce oxidative stress. The potassium and magnesium work together to help regulate blood pressure and reduce arterial stiffness. And the fiber, both soluble and insoluble, helps pull excess cholesterol out of your digestive system before it ever gets absorbed into your bloodstream. There was a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that specifically looked at the relationship between dietary fiber intake and arterial stiffness in older adults. The results were clear. Higher fiber intake was significantly associated with more flexible, healthier arteries. And arterial flexibility matters because stiff arteries can't absorb the pressure wave from each heartbeat as well, which causes that pressure to spread further into the small blood vessels and capillaries, raising the risk of damage throughout the whole system. 3 or 4 figs a day, fresh when they're in season, dried the rest of the year, is a simple, delicious, and genuinely powerful addition to an artery protective diet. And now we come to fruit number 7. And I've saved this one for last on purpose because I want to make sure you're paying close attention when I tell you this. The 7th fruit is the kiwi. Most people think of kiwi as a nice little tropical fruit, something you eat with breakfast occasionally. They have no idea that kiwi has some of the most compelling cardiovascular research behind it of almost any fruit I know. Let me give you just 2 studies to illustrate this. First, a study from the University of Oslo in Norway, published in the journal Platelets, found that eating 2 to 3 kiwis per day reduced platelet aggregation by 18% and reduced blood triglycerides by 15%. Platelet aggregation is the tendency of your blood cells to clump together and form clots, and reducing it is exactly what common blood-thinning medications are designed to do. Kiwi did this naturally, without a prescription, and without the bleeding risks associated with blood thinners. Second, kiwi is one of the highest natural sources of vitamin C per gram, and vitamin C plays a critical role in arterial health by supporting the production of collagen, which is literally one of the structural proteins that gives your arterial walls their strength and elasticity. As we age, collagen production naturally declines, which is part of why arteries become stiffer and more brittle over time. Vitamin C is one of the key nutrients that helps maintain that production. 2 kiwis a day. That's all. You don't need to peel them if you don't want to. The skin is actually edible and contains even more fiber and antioxidants than the flesh. I know that sounds unusual, but it's true. Just wash them well and eat them like an apple. Your arteries will thank you. Now I want to bring this all together in a way that's practical and real, because knowing about 7 fruits is one thing, actually making them a consistent part of your life is another. Here's what I tell my patients. Don't try to add all 7 at once. That's overwhelming, and you'll give up within a week. Instead, pick 2 fruits from this list that you genuinely like or that are easy for you to find. Add those 2 into your daily routine for 3 weeks. Make it automatic. Then add a third. Build the habit gradually, and it becomes something you don't even think about anymore. It's just what you do. A breakfast that includes blueberries on oatmeal with a couple of sliced kiwis. A lunch salad that has half an avocado and some pomegranate seeds. A piece of watermelon in the afternoon. A few figs in the evening. You're not on a diet. You're just eating. And quietly, steadily, powerfully, your body is using those foods to do something remarkable, to protect the vessels that carry life to every part of you. I also want to say this because I think it's important. These fruits are not a replacement for medications your doctor has prescribed. If you're on statins, blood pressure medication, or blood thinners, please don't stop taking them because of a YouTube video. What these fruits can do is work alongside your medical treatment, potentially making it more effective over time. Some of my patients have been able to work with their doctors to reduce their medication doses as their numbers improved with dietary changes, but that's a conversation to have with your physician, not a decision to make on your own. What I want you to walk away from this video understanding is that food is not passive. It is not just fuel. The compounds in real, whole, unprocessed foods are biologically active. They interact with your cells, your enzymes, your blood vessels, your immune system. They are, in the truest sense of the word, medicine. Not the kind that comes in a bottle, the kind that comes from the earth, the kind humans have been eating for hundreds of thousands of years. And your body at 60, at 70, at 80 still recognizes these compounds, still responds to them, still has the capacity to use them to heal and protect and renew. I've watched patients in their late 70s change their lab numbers in ways that genuinely surprise their cardiologists. I've watched people reduce their arterial stiffness scores through nothing more than deliberate, consistent changes in what they ate. The body never loses its ability to move toward health when you give it the right tools. Never. And today I've given you 7 of those tools. So here's what I want you to do right now before you close this video, before you go back to whatever you were doing. I want you to think of 1 fruit from this list. Just 1. Maybe it's the blueberries because you already have them in your freezer. Maybe it's the avocado because you've been meaning to eat more of them. Maybe it's the pomegranate because the research I shared genuinely surprised you. Pick 1. Make a commitment to yourself, not to me, that you are going to eat that fruit every single day for the next 30 days. That's it. That's your first step. And first steps, taken consistently, have a way of turning into transformed lives. If this video helped you today, if you learned something that you didn't know before, I would ask you genuinely, please share it with someone you love. Share it with your spouse, your sister, your friend who just turned 65 and is worried about their heart. Because this information should not be hard to find. It should be everywhere. And the more we share it, the more people we help. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I'd be honored to have you here. Every week I make videos exactly like this one, taking real medical research and turning it into practical, understandable, actionable information for people who want to take their health into their own hands. No hype, no gimmicks, no selling you anything, just honest science and genuine care for your well-being. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss one. I'm Dr. William. Thank you truly for spending your time with me today. Take care of that heart of yours. It has been beating for you without a single break every moment of your life. It deserves everything you can give it. I'll see you in the next one.